In 2 days, he's getting married. Not to me. And 5 years ago, he asked me to be the one. The bell above the bookstore door gives its thin, cheerful ring, a sound that usually calms my nerves. Today, it scrapes like a violin out of tune. Friday sunlight spills across the counter, warm on my hands, steady, unbothered. The world keeps moving. My stomach doesn't. Matt Hayes is back in town to marry Michelle Montgomery on Sunday. People say her name with the kind of softness reserved for porcelain. Elegant, accomplished, perfect for him. The town newspaper printed a photo this morning. Matt in a dark suit, smile like he owns the oxygen. Michelle at his side in a pale dress that probably has a French name. They look like a decision I didn't make. 5 years ago, he stood in this store after closing, eyes bright like he'd swallowed a star. "Come with me," he said. "Silicon Valley. I love you. We'll figure it out." The shelves around us hummed like witnesses. My answer was quick and practiced. No, I can't, I shouldn't. Words I'd rehearsed in a dozen sleepless nights. I called it wisdom, maturity, responsibility. Truth, it was fear with lipstick on. A little chalkboard by the register lists today's book club pick. My handwriting curves too neatly, like I'm trying to convince someone I have it together. Cinnamon drifts in from the bakery next door. Somewhere outside, a truck rumbles past with a load of firewood, though winter is months away. Town rhythms, the same ones that comforted me the night I decided to stay. A text lights up my phone screen. Margaret Hayes. Matt's mother never stopped treating me like a stray she'd once fed, forever hers. "Rehearsal dinner tonight at the community hall, 6 p.m. You'll come, won't you? M." The last time I saw Margaret, she pressed a jar of summer peaches into my hands and said, "You've always been good for him." I nodded, then went home and cried into toast like I was auditioning for a small private tragedy. I type, delete, type again. "I have inventory tonight." Lie. The inventory is a stack of used paperbacks that can wait until the next century. My thumb hovers. I picture Margaret's tidy hair, the way she leans in when she talks, as if secrets require closeness. She knows what I did. She forgave me anyway. The bell rings again. A group of high schoolers drifts toward the fantasy aisle, whispering about dragons and prom. One girl in a red hoodie glances at the newspaper on the counter, at the photo of Matt and Michelle, and smiles. "They're beautiful," she says, not meaning anything by it. Her ring-light youth and casual cruelty are the same thing today. Beautiful. Of course they are. Matt always was. When we were 8, we raced bikes down Ridge Street, and he let me win. At 15, he fixed my busted cassette player with a paper clip and a grin that made the universe tilt a degree. At 22, he wrote the code that launched his first app and called at midnight just to say, "M, it works, it finally works." And I lay on my bed listening to his happiness spill through the phone like coins. He wanted me. He asked. I said no. The truth I almost never touch. I wanted to say yes so badly my bones ached. But I kept picturing all the ways I could ruin him. My smallness, my fear, the way I second-guess oxygen. If I stayed, he could fly without the weight of me hanging from his ankles. I called it love. Maybe it was cowardice dressed as sacrifice. The door opens once more, and in walks a woman with glossy hair and a canvas tote that says, "Readers do it better." She buys a stack of thrillers and chatters about wedding festivities filling up the inns. "The whole town is buzzing," she says. She mentions the Montgomerys' florist, the Favors, the string quartet. Words like tasteful and timeless float across the counter. I bag her books and smile until my cheeks stiffen. When she leaves, the store settles into a quiet so complete, it feels deliberate. My reflection in the front glass blurs under tape remnants from an old display. I look steady. I am not. A question slips out before I can stop it, a whisper meant for the dust on the shelves. What if I go tonight? The air doesn't answer, but my heart lurches like it heard a starting gun. I unfold the newspaper again. Matt's smile, older now, honed, pulls something in my chest. He looks happy, or photo-trained. I can't tell from here. From the side of the life I chose, Michelle stands with one hand light on his sleeve. That hand says belonging. It says certainty. It says not me. Another text from Margaret. Please come. For me. For me. Not for Matt, not for Michelle. For the woman who made me pancakes on test days and taught me to fold a fitted sheet like origami. For the woman who called me the night after I broke her son and said, I know you think you did the right thing, Emily. I hope you don't learn too late that the right thing and the brave thing aren't always the same. Breath moves in, moves out, rougher than it needs to be. I picture the community hall, the string lights, the paper lanterns someone will hang with a stepladder, the dessert table covered in plastic until it's time. I picture Matt walking in, suit jacket over one shoulder, scanning the room for the life he built without me. If I go tonight, I open a door I've held shut with both hands for half a decade. If I don't, Sunday will still arrive, vows will be said, and I will carry a silence that has teeth. 2 days, that's the countdown. Not hours, not minutes, days that will stretch just enough to let me make a choice. The clock doesn't roar, it taps, polite, relentless. I type a reply to Margaret with fingers that refuse to steady. I'll be there at 6. Send. The decision lands in my body with the weight of a book thrown into a bag. Solid, inevitable. The bell rings once more as the mail carrier slides a package onto the counter and lifts 2 fingers in greeting. I return the gesture, then press my palm to the cool newspaper photo as if the ink could warm. In 2 days, he's getting married. Not to me, but tonight I will stand in the same room as Matt Hayes and find out if the story I buried has any pulse left. If it doesn't, fine, I will bury it properly. And if it does, God help me, then the bravest thing I have ever done may be telling the truth when it's 2 days too late. Margaret Hayes' house hasn't changed in decades. Same white siding, same flower beds lined with careful stones, same porch swing that creaks like it remembers every secret Matt and I ever whispered into the summer night. I pause at the gate, clutching the jar of strawberry jam I brought as an excuse. What am I doing here? I could have said no. I almost did. But when Margaret texted for me, I knew I'd fold. I always do with her. She opens the door before I knock. Emily! Her smile softens her face, pulls me straight back into the girl I was. Awkward knees, scraped palms, Matt's shadow always near mine. She pulls me into a hug that smells like lavender and pie crust. You've gotten too thin, she says, patting my back. Work keeping you busy? Something like that. My voice catches. Busy avoiding your son for half a decade, I don't add. Inside, the house is a museum of familiarity. Family photos line the mantel. Matt in his cap and gown, Matt with a trophy fish, Matt in front of some sleek San Francisco building. Michelle's face is new among them, framed perfectly, already woven into the Hayes story. Margaret catches me staring. She's a lovely girl, she says carefully, but seeing you here, it feels right. The words land like a stone dropped in water. Ripples spread through my chest. I want to say, right for who? But I just smile and set the jam on the counter. She pours tea into chipped mugs, the same ones Matt and I used when we'd cram for exams. I wrap my hands around the heat, grateful for something solid. Margaret leans in. He hasn't been himself, Not really. Success, yes. Money, yes. But the boy I raised, there's a piece missing. I swallow hard. Margaret, she lifts a hand. I'm not meddling. Well, maybe a little, but I know you broke his heart, and I also know hearts don't stay broken without reason. Silence swells between us. I stare into my tea like it might spell out an answer. Finally, I whisper, "Do you think he hates me?" Margaret studies me, eyes sharp and tender all at once. If he hated you, Emily, he wouldn't have kept your photograph in his office for years. The floor tilts beneath me. What? She shrugs as if it's nothing. A picture from your senior picnic. You with a book on your lap, scowling at the sun. He told people you were his best friend, that you were the reason he learned to be stubborn. A laugh bursts out of me, broken and small. Stubborn. Yeah, that sounds like me. Her hand covers mine, warm, steady. The rehearsal dinner's tonight. You should come, for closure if nothing else. Closure. The word scrapes against me. It sounds like a locked door, but my heart insists on calling it a crack left open. I nod before I can stop myself. As I leave, the porch swing moves in the breeze, empty, waiting. I remember Matt pushing it with his foot, teasing me about my crooked braids. He once said, "One day, Em, you'll see that safety isn't the same as happiness." Back then, I rolled my eyes. Now the truth stings sharper than ever. Tonight, I'll see him again, and every mile between who we were and who we became will be sitting at that table with us. The community hall hums like a hive. Laughter, clinking glasses, the faint buzz of string lights strung too high for me to reach. Every table is dressed in white linen and polished silverware, as if this small town is auditioning for a bigger stage. I hover near the doorway, clutching my clutch too tightly. Yes, the irony isn't lost on me. My heels wobble on the old wooden floorboards. I shouldn't be here. I should have stayed in my bookstore where the only judgment comes from alphabetized spines. Then I see him, Matt Hayes. Not in photographs, not in memory, but real. Flesh and breath and distance that feels both miles and inches. His suit fits like it was sewn with him in mind. Shoulders broad, jaw sharper than the boy I left behind. And his smile, God, that smile, it spreads across the room like a secret I used to own. For a heartbeat, he doesn't notice me. He's talking to someone, Michelle, of course. She's radiant, dressed in pale silk that glows under the lights. Her hand rests on his arm with a familiarity I don't deserve to envy. Then his gaze catches mine. The room fades, the chatter dulls, just his eyes locking on me like they never learned how to look away. I manage a smile, brittle as glass. He excuses himself from Michelle, crosses the space with deliberate steps, every one of them pulling air from my lungs. "Emily Larson," he says, voice lower, steadier than I remember. Still alphabetizing everything backward. I blink. Still asking questions you already know the answer to. His mouth twitches, the ghost of a smirk. 1,000 memories slam into me, and I hate how my body remembers them faster than my mind. Michelle appears at his side, graceful as a swan. "You must be Emily, Matt's oldest friend, right?" Oldest, not best. The word stings more than it should. I nod. "Yes, Emily. Nice to meet you." Her handshake is warm,
practiced. She beams like a woman who's already won the prize and doesn't see me as competition. That hurts in a different way. Matt clears his throat. Emily runs the bookstore, still the coziest place in town. The softness in his tone makes my chest ache. He didn't have to say that. He wanted to. Michelle smiles politely. That sounds charming. Maybe we'll stop by after the wedding. After the wedding. 2 words that feel like nails on a chalkboard. I mumble something about drinks and retreat before my hands start shaking visibly. My heart pounds, a drum against my ribs. From across the room, I catch Matt watching me. He doesn't look away. And suddenly, I know 2 things with cruel clarity. 1, he hasn't forgotten. 2, neither have I.
Saturday morning tastes like regret and coffee. I should have stayed home after the rehearsal dinner, but Margaret called before I could hide under my quilt. Can you help with a few last-minute details, flowers, favors, nothing too big? I said yes before I thought it through. I always say yes to her. Which is how I end up standing in the community hall again, a box of ribbon-wrapped programs in my arms, when Matt Hayes walks in carrying 2 crates of bottled water like they weigh nothing. He stops short when he sees me. Of course, his mouth quirks. Margaret set this up, didn't she? I shift the box higher, pretending it's heavier than it is. If she did, it worked. You're trapped with me. A flicker of something, amusement, irritation, crosses his face. Could be worse. We set our loads down on the same table. Too close. His sleeve brushes mine, and I swear my skin lights up like static. I keep my eyes on the programs. So, Silicon Valley millionaire still knows how to lift boxes? He snorts. Success doesn't make water any lighter. Then softer. Some things don't change. I glance up. His gaze holds mine steady, searching. It's too much. Too soon. So I grab a ribbon and start fiddling with it like my life depends on neat bows. Michelle picked these? I ask, nodding at the pastel pink. She likes soft colors, he says. His voice drops. You always liked blue. The ribbon slips through my fingers. You remember that? He doesn't answer right away, just watches me, the silence louder than words. Then he clears his throat. Hard to forget the girl who argued that navy was a power color. I laugh, nervous, broken. I was dramatic. You were right, he says simply. The air between us shifts, too close, too dangerous. My pulse rattles in my ears. I try to retreat into sarcasm. Careful, Hayes. People might think you're sentimental. His smirk is quick, defensive. Don't tell anyone. It could ruin my reputation. For a second, it almost feels like us again. Banter bouncing, walls thin enough to peek through. Then Michelle's voice carries from the doorway, calling his name. He straightens, steps back. The moment snaps. Thanks for helping, he says, too polite, too final. I nod, my throat too tight to answer. As he walks toward her, I press the ribbon flat under my palm until it creases. If I keep saying yes to Margaret, I'll keep ending up here, standing close enough to feel what I lost, but not close enough to take it back. And yet, I know I'll say yes again. The town is quiet by the time I circle back to the hall. Most of the lights are off, only a few paper lanterns glowing in the corner like stubborn stars. Margaret asked me to drop off a forgotten box of candles. I told myself I'd leave it by the door and slip away. But then I hear him, Matt's voice, low, measured. I stop in the shadows. He's standing near the altar, where the chairs are already lined in neat rows, holding a sheet of paper. His vow book. He reads aloud, almost to himself. I promise to stand beside you when the world is heavy. I promise to... He breaks off, presses his hand to his face. The sound that escapes him isn't steady. It's the kind of sound a man makes when the words don't fit. Before I can think better of it, I step forward. You always did over-edit your homework. His head jerks up. For a second, the years fall away, and we're back in high school. Me mocking his essay drafts, him rolling his eyes and secretly rewriting everything I suggested. He laughs once, but it's hollow. Caught me. He drops the paper onto a chair. You shouldn't be here. I know. My heart thunders. But neither should you, apparently. Silence stretches. Then he says, softer, I wrote my first vows 5 years ago. For you. The air knocks out of me. Matt. He carried them with me to California. Every pitch meeting, every late night, they were folded in my wallet. Stupid, huh? He shakes his head, voice rough. They reminded me what I was working for, who I was working for. My throat closes. I didn't know. You didn't want to. His gaze pins me in place. You said no. I tried to move on. Michelle deserves a man who's here, not a man stuck in the past. I step closer, words trembling out. And yet, you're still here, reading vows to a ghost. His chest rises and falls uneven. One step brings him close enough that I catch the scent of cedar and something sharker, something undeniably him. His hand brushes mine. Accident, hesitation, I don't know. My pulse leaps. Our eyes lock. The silence is alive, charged. He leans in just enough that I feel the whisper of his breath. And then he stops. His jaw tightens. He pulls back, a sharp retreat. I can't do this. Not now. Not the day before my wedding. The words slice clean. I stand there, raw, trembling, half broken, half burning. He picks up the vow sheet, folds it like it's armor, and turns away. Good night, Emily. Just that. Nothing else. I watch him go, my lips tingling with the kiss we didn't share. My hands ache with the weight of what I never said. For the first time in years, the truth presses against my ribs, desperate to break free. I still love him. And if I don't speak soon, I'll lose him forever.
Sunday morning doesn't arrive gently. It crashes in with sunlight too bright through my curtains and the church bells practicing down the street, each chime a reminder. Today, the day he marries her. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, wishing for a different sky, a different past, a different me. But wishes don't change vows, and vows are being written into stone as I waste minutes breathing. The almost kiss from last night burns through me. The way he leaned in, the way he stopped, the words, I can't do this. If he truly didn't care anymore, he wouldn't have gotten that close. If he truly loved her without doubt, he wouldn't have said my name like it still belonged to him. I roll out of bed, feet hitting the floor harder than necessary. My misbelief that letting him go was protection, that love meant staying safe, wraps around me like barbed wire. I've been bleeding from it for years without admitting it. Love isn't protection. Love is choosing. And I never chose him, not out loud. Coffee hisses from the old machine, bitter and too strong, but I gulp it anyway. My hands shake, not from caffeine, but from what I know I have to do. Margaret texted me already. Big day, ceremony at 2, hope to see you there. She has no idea what I plan. Maybe I don't either, but I know one thing.
I can't sit in the back row smiling politely while the only man I ever loved promises forever to someone else without hearing the truth first. I catch my reflection in the kitchen window, hair unbrushed, eyes ringed with sleepless shadows. I look like a woman on the edge of something irreversible. Maybe that's exactly what I am. The town outside feels different too. People bustle with bouquets, trays of food, pressed suits and plastic covers. The whole place is dressed for celebration, and I'm dressed for confession. I whisper it out loud because maybe speaking it makes it real. I'm going to tell him. Today. Before it's too late. The words hang in the air, heavier than any vow. The countdown isn't hours anymore, it's minutes. And when that church bell rings for real, I need to have said everything I swallowed 5 years ago. No more fear, no more hiding. Today, I choose.
The church smells like lilies and polished wood. Sunlight spills through stained glass in fragments of gold and crimson, painting the pews with colors that feel too holy for my purpose. Guests are filing in, their voices hushed with anticipation. Every sound grates, every second ticks closer. I shouldn't be here, and yet here I am. Heart pounding, palms clammy, throat tight with words that won't wait another hour. I slip down the side hall, past a door marked Groom's Room. My hand shakes as I knock once and push it open. Matt is there, alone, jacket off, tie loosened, leaning against a table like the weight of the world is pressing him down. He looks up. His eyes widen. Emily? I close the door behind me. The click sounds like a gunshot. I need to say something. I blurt. My voice wavers, but I force it steady. And if I don't say it now, I never will. He exhales, long and heavy. Emily, this isn't... No, don't stop me. I step closer, every nerve alive. 5 years ago, you asked me to go with you. You told me you loved me, and I said no. I told myself I was being responsible, practical, wise, but the truth? I was terrified, and it's the biggest mistake of my life. His jaw tightens. Why are you telling me this now? Because you deserve to hear it. Because I've carried it every day since. And if I sit out there and watch you marry her without you knowing, my voice cracks. I'll never forgive myself. He runs a hand over his face. Emily. His tone is raw, almost broken. Do you realize what you're asking me to do with this? Minutes before my wedding? Tears sting my eyes. I'm not asking you to call it off. I'm not asking you to choose me. I needed you to know that you were never unloved, that I never stopped. Not once. Silence. His chest rises and falls unevenly. Then he steps closer, so close I can feel the heat of him. His voice drops to a whisper that cuts deeper than any shout. I never stopped loving you either. The world tilts. My breath hitches. For one suspended second, it feels possible. Like everything could change if either of us reached 1 inch further. But then he pulls back. Pain sharpens his features. But I can't walk away from Michelle. Not like this. Not now. The words land like a blade. I nod, though my heart is tearing open. I know. My voice is barely audible. I just couldn't let you walk into forever without the truth. A knock rattles the door. Someone calls, "Matt, it's time." He closes his eyes, then straightens his tie. When he looks at me again, it's with an ache that will scar us both. Goodbye, Emily. The door opens, light and noise rush in, and just like that, he's gone. I press my hand to my chest, as if I can hold my breaking heart in place until the ceremony tearing it apart. The organ swells, and everyone rises. I stay seated in the last pew, my knees locked, my hands gripping the wood so tightly I could leave marks. Michelle glides down the aisle like she was born for this moment, poised, radiant, a picture pulled straight from a glossy magazine. She belongs to this day in a way I never could. At the altar, Matt watches her approach. His smile doesn't falter, not once. Maybe he's convincing himself. Maybe he doesn't need convincing. I can't tell anymore. The vows spill into the air, words about forever, about promises, about love that conquers. They echo against my ribs like reminders of what I could have had if I'd been braver. When the pastor says, "You may kiss the bride," I turn my head away. I don't need to see it. The sound of applause is sharp enough. For a moment, grief presses down so hard I think I'll break in two. But then something else pushes through, a flicker of release. The truth is no longer rotting in silence between us. He knows. He'll carry it, and so will I. As guests pour into the aisle, I slip out the side door. The air outside is cooler, quieter, a mercy. I walk to the edge of the lawn and breathe in the scent of grass and summer, sharp and grounding. I whisper into the open sky, "I loved you. I still do. But maybe that love isn't the end of me. Maybe it's the beginning." The words don't fix the ache, but they loosen something. For 5 years, I believed the story ended the night I told him no. I was wrong. That was only the middle. This choosing to stand, to speak, to survive the truth, this is the start of something else. I don't know where it leads, but for the first time in years, the not knowing doesn't terrify me. I walk down the quiet street alone, my heart broken, yes, shattered even, but beating, still beating, and maybe, just maybe, ready for what comes next.